This Jerry Glanville edition of the Sports Gambling Podcast is presented by WynnBet. Bet $50 at WynnBet and get $200 in free bets. Bet big, win bigger with WynnBet. Download the WynnBet app now or visit wynnbet.com and start winning today. We're also brought to you by Sleeper. You already play fantasy on Sleeper, but now you can win cold hard cash with their over/under game. Just head to sleeper.com/SGP on your phone to join the SGPN group, and Sleeper will automatically match your first deposit up to $100. That's sleeper.com/SGP. And make sure to download the SGPN app for all of our free picks and podcasts.
This is Jerry Glanville, and you're listening to SGPN. Let it ride, brother.
Cox.
He's one of those guys who will get penetration.
Ooh, welcome everyone to the Sports Gambling Podcast. I'm Sean, stacking the money green with my partner in picks, Ryan, Real Money Kramer. What's happening, Kramer?
Oh, I wasn't even ready to do this.
Dog. There you go.
What a day to be alive, as Jong says. I mean,
great day to be alive.
I'm more excited about this episode than I've been in a while. I'll be honest. No disrespect to the NBA, the USFL, a number of other things we've covered. I was pretty juiced for this one.
Yes, we will be joined in just a few minutes here by the legend, Jerry Glanville. Also, as always, when we're talking real old school football, Colby Dant, aka the Dantabase. What's up, Colby?
I demand one Grits Blitz reference. One. Do your history, folks out there, about the Grits Blitz.
And I apologize in advance. Colby gets very excited during the interview. So.
Yeah. You can just like, see. Can you talk about Sam Wyche, please?
It's like a dog. It's like a dog wagging its tail so hard around a table. That's the same level the dog, and everyone's like, "No, not go for the drinks."
You guys, taking me off, going left field here. I wanted to stay in on this rivalry between Noll and Glanville.
Oh yeah, it's a very fun interview. I mean, Jerry's an all timer, and excited to see him coaching it up. Major League Football coming soon. Stay tuned. But hey, if you're looking to bet on the National Football League, aka the NFL, you can do it over at WynnBet.com. Get over there now. Bet 50, get $200 in free bets. And this is pretty awesome. Bet $500 every time you bet $500 between now and July 31st. You're automatically entered. You got to click the thing to enter it, but fantasy football draft experience at the Encore Beach Club, including 2-night stay at the Wynn Resorts for you and your entire league. Multiple entries allowed. So basically, if you bet $1,000 between now and the end of July, you got 2 entries already in the prize drawing. So perfect excuse to get a little extra action in there. And hey, if you win and you're an SGPN listener, hit us up. Kramer and I will hang out with you guys, do some shots, maybe announce your league, whatever you guys want. We're down. So good luck. And perfect excuse to get some of your buddies from your fantasy football league to also get down over at WynnBet. Download the WynnBet app now or visit wynnbet.com to get started today. Offer subject to change. Terms and conditions at WynnBet.com. Must be 21 or older and present in the state where playthrough WynnBet is available. If you're someone you know has a gambling problem, call 1-800-522-4700.
Sean, we will have fun with you during your draft, but we're not going to be like Michael Pittman letting Matt Ryan put it wherever he wants it. That's off limits.
That was an all-time fantasy quote, and they made a quote graphic of like wherever Matt wants to put it, that's where he puts it. Yeah. You got to do a little proofreading on the social graphics before you fire those out. Speaking of fantasy football, man, this is right up our alley. Hilarious for so many reasons on so many levels. Ryan, if you could please cue up the Real Men of Degens music.
SGPN presents Real Men of Degens.
Real Men
We salute you.
Tommy Pham. That's right. Not only did he slap Jock Peterson over their fantasy football dispute, alleging he was abusing the IR spot, but now after he served a 3-day suspension, after he served or paid a $100,000 fine, he still is pissed off. Quote, going after the commissioner, saying, quote, Trout did a terrible job, man. Trout's the worst commissioner in fantasy sports because he allowed a lot of this shit to go on and it could have solved it all. Nobody wanted to be commissioner. I didn't want to be fucking commissioner. I got other shit to do. He didn't want to do it. We put it on him. Quote, it was kind of our fault too because we made him commissioner.
I mean,
oh man, is this not every fantasy league? Yeah, no one wants to be commissioner because it's a pain in the ass. Poor, I love how he's implying like Mike Trout doesn't have anything to do, but Tommy Pham has a busy schedule. He's Mike Trout. What are you talking about?
Story. This is the best story this year.
It highlights the absolute dominance of the NFL too, because a players in another professional league are being suspended and fined over playing a fantasy football game.
Well,
I mean,
Trout was asked,
think about that.
Yeah, Trout was asked, and I love his answer. He goes, "I talked to Jock, and everyone was a part of it. It was just passion in fantasy football." He says, "That's incredible, incredible story."
It is so funny though. It's like you're living the dream of being a professional athlete. Yeah. You're getting paid to play baseball, but still you got to have a little side action in the NFL, right? Like, but my dream is really to be playing for the Eagles. Like, it just shows you the NFL truly is king.
And while we're at it, we better investigate these guys. Can't let them in the Hall of Fame. They're gambling.
Is this technically gambling?
Oh man.
Oh, maybe Jock Peterson was through the game and was going against his own team. We got to investigate.
This kind of reminds me of the I don't know if you guys remember when Nate Robinson went on the Knicks, like someone had a gambling debt to him, and it was like a 7'2" center, and so in the showers, butt ass naked, he jumped on him and started fighting him. Just a completely out of left field story. Like, there was $100,000 fine related to a fantasy football mishap.
Well, I mean, this is like Jordan gambling with Oakley and stuff up in the Beverly Hills Hilton or something. I mean, this story is fantastic. I really love the Trout statements that he's making. Everyone involved is very passionate about fantasy football.
Are you insinuating that someone's going to take a hit out on Pham's dad now or something? Like,
oh my God.
He follows it up with this though. Trout goes, a lot of people put their hearts into this. And I lost in that league.
Is he talking about the Angels? Oh no, he's not talking about baseball. He's talking about their fucking fantasy football league.
A lot of people put their hearts into it.
If I'm Pham's manager, I go, dude, appreciate the passion, but can you pretend to care about this day doubleheader half as much as your fucking fantasy league?
That's pretty amazing.
These guys are maniacs.
It's fantastic.
True Degens only. All right, we're going to get to Glanville. Before we do that, shout out to Sleeper. That's right, Sleeper. Speaking of fantasy, one of the fastest growing fantasy platforms today. We use it for our SGPN Dynasty League. Highly recommended for fantasy. But now you can win cold hard cash via player props in their new over/under game. They got it going for the NBA Finals. They got it going for MLB. Parlay them together. You can win anywhere from 2x to 20x. If you join our Sleeper squad by going to sleeper.com/SGP, you can just easily copy our picks. Or if you think they completely suck, you can fade them. Tag us in the Sleeper squad chat. Hey, Sean, Ryan, follow my picks. I'm always down for a little extra action. I just fired up the Sleeper squad app today. I saw Moonoff put his, it was either like a 4 or 5 team, or just immediately hit copy. Don't need to do the research. Let your boy Moonoff take care of you there. And the best part is 100% deposit bonus up to $100. Use that promo code SGP and get started by going to sleeper.com/SGP on your phone. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. Joining us on the line, you know him from the NFL and the XFL, and making his debut. He's the first announced coach of the newly minted Major League Football, Mr. Jerry Glanville. Jerry, thanks for calling into the program.
Well, my pleasure to be here with you all.
No, it's awesome. We talked to you a couple years ago. A couple years back, you were coaching in the then XFL. A lot of things have changed since then. But first off, congrats on the MLFB gig. And what appealed about the opportunity to coach again for Major League Football, this new league?
Well, I guess I may be the only guy alive. I coached in the United Football League when up in Hartford Colonial. I XFL. I coached in the Spring League in San Antonio, Texas. I coached in the Spring League in Indianapolis, Indiana. So what appeals to you? Why do you keep doing this? We're so fortunate that we get 10, 11 kids get an opportunity in an NFL camp if we can do a good coaching job and get their strength and use their strength in our system. So that's the fun. How about this? Last year, I had 3 players. This was a first that all 3 signed with the Chargers. And when you do that, those kids are thrilled, but they're no happier than us coaches. We're so happy to see them get a chance. And one of the players, a wide receiver, just signed a 3-year deal at millions of bucks a year, and he was paying me to play. So it's kind of fun to watch the growth.
Now when he signs a big deal with the Chargers, does he give you a little tip there for helping him get a big contract? Does he get you some sweet cowboy boots?
Nah, probably the best tip I get from them is stay out of the way. And if I stay out of the way, that's a good tip.
well, and so we obviously big time spring coach, but you've also coached during the fall. So got to put it to you, which do you prefer? Do you like the spring coaching because of that? What you said, that build up, you're trying to get them to that next level, or coaching in the NFL, coaching at the top level of college? Which do you prefer?
Well, it's really interesting. I thought before I coached spring football that I would not like it. That was in my DNA. I haven't been, I was a college coach at Georgia Tech, Western Kentucky, and then I was in pro football in the NFL for, 35 years. So got a couple of games there. And I thought, well, I wouldn't want to be coaching football in the spring. Once you start your first meeting, the outdoor temperature has nothing to do with the indoor temperature. You coaches coach, and if you love ball, it doesn't matter if it's snowing or if it's 100 degrees. You're coaching it, and you're trying to get your players to perform at their highest level. So I like it all. It's kind of funny. I just was down with the Atlanta Falcons. They got their OTAs. And once you've done all these leagues, you realize don't let the season distract from what you're trying to get done.
Now, you mentioned the Falcons. You, of course, coached the Falcons back in the day there. Your 1991 Atlanta Falcons team, they were deemed, quote, the rudest team in NFL history. What did you and the players do to get a moniker like that?
It's somebody that made the wrong choice of words. The NFL film said the same team was the most exciting team, if you can imagine, in the history of NFL football. So it depends on who you are, if you think this is exciting or if you think this is rude. I never thought of us as rude, but we sure as hell were excited.
Yeah, I mean, it's so weird to call a football team rude. Like, what, you're not holding the door open for the other team? What do you expect? You're on the football field. You're not supposed to be polite.
I think they wanted us to let you on the elevator first.
And so on that 91 team, though, you famously drafted Brett Favre. Was that like, what was the pre-draft process? What was it like meeting Brett Favre as a young man down there in Mississippi, I'd assume?
Well, really what happened is personnel director, who was totally stupid, wanted. I mean, really, he couldn't figure out a player if he had his head inside it. Anyway, he wanted
it's a
to
unique
take Favre.
strategy.
Pardon?
Oh no, I just the putting the head inside the player would be a unique way of scouting for sure.
You know, I always tell people you cannot judge character if you don't have any yourself. So you got to have. I don't want to pick the players unless the guy picking them can't. You know, I was fortunate enough that I started drafting players. My gosh, in 1975. How about that? So, when you talk to these other new Wizard scouts, I've been picking the right guy since 75. I don't see what you see. I had the most unbelievable talent that has been lost. And that talent is to believe what I see. These new scouts are involved with the worst word in scouting, potential. And I always say, they said, well, he's got potential. That means the coach is probably going to get fired. Or I tell them, I looked at Walter Clayton playing in Jackson State, Mississippi, and I watched him play. And at no time did anybody say, I think he's got potential. When he said, as hell, that guy can play.
It's a hell of a ball player. Now, Brett Favre ultimately did have a ton of potential. The Falcons, you and the Falcons ended up trading him after that first season. Looking back, do you regret trading Brett Favre? I mean, his rookie season was kind of disaster. He had a total of 5 snaps. He completed 0 passes and threw 2 interceptions and was sacked in his 5-snap career there for the Falcons. But do you regret trading Brett Favre?
I think you could tell he was special. You could tell that there was something there that you don't get to see often. For instance, in our Washington Redskin playoff game, I put him in so he'd have playoff experience. His first pass, the Redskins picked off and ran back for a touchdown in the playoffs. And he ran to me. He goes, "Can you believe it? My first pass in the playoffs went for a touchdown. Is that awesome, Coach?" And I said, it wasn't our touchdown. It was there. He goes, "Either way, it's a touchdown." He's going to love that guy.
So a little sense of humor about his failure. Now, of course, you're talking about that the 1991 playoff game against Joe Gibbs and the Redskins. I was rewatching some of the highlights there. The turf seemed to be a little slow there. I know. Do you think they intentionally did something to the turf to slow you guys down?
Well, they had the biggest team and we had the fastest. And I went out there and there was mud butt deep to a tall Indian. And they had Purdue prescription turf. And that means there's pumps underneath of it. So I went, you'd love me. I walked down there and I said, let's turn these pumps on. And the groundskeeper said, they'll be turned on 1 hour after the game. And I says, we'll turn them on now. He goes, that's not home field advantage.
Oh,
and by the way, it hadn't rained in 3 weeks.
Oh man. So
and
the fix was in.
On the halftime of that game with that turf, like it was, we couldn't even stand up because we had the wrong cleats. At the halftime, they brought out the United States Army Marching Band and marched around. It was really. I didn't talk to Joe Gibbs when the game was over.
Have you talked to Joe Gibbs since? Have you guys patched things up, or is he on your non-communication?
It's hard to fix a blowout. I mean, you get a blowout on your right rear tire. There's no sense patching it. Just go look for a new one.
Yeah, there's no. Yeah, you can't just put a little square patch of rubber on that thing. You need a whole new tire.
Now, Coach Glanville, You also, though, I mean, look, when you were with the Houston Oilers, I saw Chuck Noll and Sam Wyche. They've stated that they didn't like you and your team. Can you talk about those days and maybe give a thought of why they didn't like you?
Oh, I think that it's apparent why they didn't like us. You know, it was kind of funny. Before I went with the Houston Oilers, Chuck Noll was trying to hire me to be his defensive coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers. And I'm in Mobile, Alabama, and both teams are trying to hire me. And it all goes back to that meeting. And he goes, "What are you going to do?" I said, "Well, for the first time in my life, I'm going to go to the team that pays the most." Chuck Noll looked at me and he goes, "Well, then you go to Houston and you look over at me twice a year as we're kicking your butt." And I was very respectful of him. I thought he did a lot of amazing things. I said, "Thank you, sir." Well, lo and behold, I became the head coach. We weren't beating him once a year. We were beating him twice a year. And that probably never got out of his craw, because as he told me they were going to get us twice a year, the worm turned. And the way we were beating him is how he beat people. I mean, let's face it, some of his teams were the most physical, hardest hitting teams in football. Then after we beat him in Houston, I went out to shake his hand. He goes, "It's going to be your butt, Jerry." I goes, "Pardon me, coach?" He goes, "They're coming after us." I said, "Yeah, we asked him to do that." He goes, "They're coming from everywhere. They're coming over the top. They're coming underneath." I goes, "Yeah, if there's room, we want to join the group." And he goes, "Well, the problem with you is you got to come to my place next." I said, "Well, I've looked at the schedule. I think we'll be there." And you know what people don't know after that deal? The next game was the worst beating we've ever put on anybody at Pittsburgh. In fact, I told the poor press afterwards, they said, "What about that game?" I said, if it was a heavyweight fight, they'd have called it at halftime.
They'd have thrown in the towel.
What about Wyche?
Oh, I mean, to tell you, well, Wyche is, you know, geez, oh, Pete. That goes all the way back that I was his coach at Detroit. So, you know, why did he get mad at me? By the way, before I went to Houston, Cincinnati tried to hire him. They wanted me to be Wyche's assistant. That would have gone off real good. Anyway, I cut Sam on the practice field at the Detroit Lions as his coach. Well, there wasn't a whole lot of love there after that. I mean, you know, it's like your show you're doing right now. When you're done with having me on your show will be canceled. Well, you won't be loving me.
Jerry Glanville took down
anybody in the country.
Yeah, it'll be weird after this episode when we cut Colby. I could see that being uncomfortable in the office. Now, back to
Sam, how about this? I left. We had big battles, Houston, Cincinnati, great battles. And now I go to Atlanta, and we're playing them on the big area, coast to coast. Everybody's going to watch the Bengals in Atlanta. My first year in Atlanta. Great story. And so, you know, we had battles with him when I was in Houston. None of these players in Houston, they don't know the routine. Well, he gets a hold of the officials at halftime, Sam, and says, "Are you going to protect us or not?" And the official says, "Well, what are you talking about, Sam?" He says, "You do realize they're trying to kill us." Well, that's what we did. That's who we are. And those are the only two crybabies that ever cried about me coaching hitting too hard. Nowadays, you're getting a hit hard, they give you a raise. Back then, you hit hard, you ran to the newspaper and says, "Oh, they're hitting us." Well, I hope so.
It's the nature of the game.
Football, baby.
All right, we're going to get back to our buddy Jerry Glanville. Before we do that, shout out to Athletic Greens. You know why they call me Sean Athletic Greens? Because I've been inhaling the AG1 from Athletic Greens. I feel great. Honestly, every day, wake up, get the 8 ounces of water, that 1 scoop of AG1, shake it up, goes down so smooth. And it just tastes great. I mean, if you're not doing more healthy stuff in your life, why? Because it's either a pain in the ass or it tastes like crap. Athletic Greens, it's neither. Plus, they hit you with 75 high quality vitamins, minerals, whole food source, superfoods, probiotics, adaptogens. Athletic Greens has it all. No wonder they have 7,000 5-star reviews. To make it easy, Athletic Greens is going to give you a free 1-year supply of immune supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. All you got to do is go to athleticgreens.com/SGP. That's athleticgreens.com/SGP. We're also brought to you by IP Vanish. Getting your body right, your mind right with AG1 right. And you got to get your internet security right with IP Vanish, the only VPN we use, the VPN we trust. And you should trust a VPN. You shouldn't trust some crazy sketchy Wi-Fi when you're traveling, you're overseas, you're on some coffee shop Wi-Fi where the password is just coffee25. You can get hacked. They can get your browsing history. You don't want anyone getting your browsing history. Good Lord. You don't want them seeing what you're up to. That's why you got to get IP Vanish. And best part about it is they're offering 70% off their yearly plan and a 30-day money back guarantee. Essentially getting 9 months free. It's crazy. IPVanish.com/SGP to claim your 70% savings. That's IPVanish.com/SGP. Now back to Jerry. Now, I've always enjoyed your style. Jerry got a very unique style. You know, the NFL, they have a bunch of uniform rules when it comes to like what kind of gear the coaches can wear on the sidelines. Of course, you were the pioneer of the 2 headset look on the sideline of the XFL. Is there going to be any sort of policy for uniforms when it comes to what coaches can wear in the Major League Football?
Well, you know, it's kind of funny you asked about that. I never coached a game that I wasn't wearing my cowboy boots. So you'd love this. The NFL, you know, this year we're sponsored by Nike or we're sponsored by somebody, and every coach has to wear their gear. Well, there I was with my black ostrich cowboy boots, and they came in and said, we have to do a study to see if you're getting paid to wear those boots. And I says, let me give you the guy's number in Houston, Texas that makes my boots, because these things cost me $2,200. Nobody paid me. And we also, you know, we shook up the whole league. Our pants were the black Wrangler jeans. We wore black Wrangler jeans and cowboy boots, and you wouldn't believe. I thought somebody lost their lives by the time everybody was squealing like a pregnant woman on a roller coaster.
Oh yeah,
beautiful.
I mean,
Well, and I was going to say it's clear because at that time I think most people know you were moonlighting also as a NASCAR driver, but in kind of digging into this episode, I pulled out an incredible nugget. Jerry, I found out you are one of only 3 people to have run 100 different tracks in this great nation. Richard Petty and Kenny Schrader being the other 2. Is that a true story? True statement? Well,
at the time it was. I don't know now because these kids now are driving 3 or 4 times a week, which is what we did. But I almost went into shock where I was racing in Odessa, Missouri. And we're going to race in the late afternoon, and they deliver the morning paper. And I opened up the paper, and it says, Glanville hits 100. And I thought, hell, that went fast. I didn't know I was that old. And I had to keep reading, and it was the 100 track. Never counted the same one twice. That we had showed up and raced at, and that was kind of neat. So, and guess who was there racing against me? Kenny Schrader.
Oh
wow, that's crazy. When was the last time you got behind the wheel of a race car?
Last summer, I raced down in South Georgia. And I raced in a Budweiser shootout, and it was kind of funny because I looked around and it was a super late model class. You got a light car and you got a big motor and you got a pretty good sized tire. And I looked around and everybody looked like my grandson. They looked about 18 years old, and the one poor kid his instructor said, get behind the coach and just follow him. If you just follow him for an hour and a half, you'll learn more about driving than you will in 10 years. So where he goes, you go. And the kid could take coaching because I come out of turn 4 and hit the wall, and the kid hit the wall right behind me. He wrecked 2 cars.
That's great.
That's fabulous. So I got to ask then, because I mean, the crazy thing about this nugget is I assume you were coaching football for the majority of this time when you were running all these tracks.
No, I was called. Remember, I was on Fox, and I was on CBS, and I was on HBO. I took a 15 years where I hate myself. I went for the money rather than for the enjoyment. And I drove most of the tracks when I was doing television. And what I would do is I would be in all these different series until the NFL started, and then I would go right back with my TV job. So I was doing television during the football season and racing. Like, let's say the series lasted 6 months. I would maybe only get to drive the first 3. If you look at the NASCAR Truck Series the first year, you'll see I finished 17th for the season. But when I went to TV, I was like 5th. And every week so now I'm not in these races, so I'm falling down. And you didn't get money unless you finish in the top 25. And so I fell down to 17th, but motor.
Yeah, I mean, and I got last racing question before we get back to football, but with the kind of emergence of Formula One and the open wheel driving overseas, and I guess some races over here, like as kind of an American bred and born Southern track driver, like what's your take on this open wheel emergence?
Well, the Formula One has me really interested because if you see, sometimes it looks like they have tail light flashing, sparks are flashing. I would do anything to get in that car. That means they're harvesting for their electrical boost. Now, it's different. I mean, it's different. Now you got to listen to me now. I'm going to pass you, and while I'm going to pass you, I'll hit a button for an electrical boost. Maybe I got a Ferrari engine. Maybe I got they run Ferrari engines, Mercedes engines, and then Red Bull, believe it or not, is the only group that makes their motors, but they make a lot of Honda parts. I know too much, can you tell? And
we might need you to host our podcast, Jerry. Host the F1 podcast.
You know what? I would turn that thing loose because I tried to listen to them, and I evidently don't speak English because they say they're speaking English, and I don't know one daggum word they're saying.
Jerry, they spell tire with a Y. That's all we got to say.
Well, I was in Atlanta in the Deep South, and everybody knows you spell tire, T-A-R. It's a tar.
So great.
Now you had mentioned the one of the racers you were working with. He was a guy that would probably be good at taking some coaching. What about some players maybe you have your eye on for the Major League Football? Is there anyone you're really looking forward to coaching? Do you have any idea yet as far as who you guys may be able to bring in?
We signed 30 people as we're talking, 30 players, and we're going to sign 70. And the only thing that'll slow us down is they can't do all the paperwork as fast as we move. We'll have players. Here's my goal. We will have very good players. We always do. And we'll have coaches that have to have their best coaching year ever this year. And how do you get your best coaching job ever? Our job in our schemes. You two will like this. I had the number 1 defense in the NFL, Detroit, Atlanta, Houston, back to Atlanta. And here's what I tell everybody. Was it the same scheme? This is what makes us different. Absolutely not. We'll take our players and what your strength is, that'll become our scheme. For instance, the New York Giants of Bill Parcells played 2-gap. guy had a hitch in the nose and take the gap with the flow. Well, that's only good if you can bench press a building. But if you're just a gazelle and can run, then we change what we're doing. So when we get our guys and they'll fit, we'll see what they can do. Jerry Glanville does not run the same defense from year to year, the same offense from year to year. There's a base start, but what I do, and I think is why our kids get a chance and an opportunity, we find out what you do best, and that becomes part of our scheme.
Yeah, and looking back on it, I wasn't aware that you set this record, but in 1977, when you were the defensive coordinator of the Atlanta Falcons, you instituted the Grits Blitz, which is a great name, and the fewest amount of points allowed in a 14-game season, only giving up 9.2 points per game, which is still an NFL record. That's crazy.
I'm in the 129 point club. So if you go to the Hall of Fame, this is what I love about it. If you go to Canton, Ohio, and you go to the Hall of Fame and you go over there with the Falcons, here's a plaque for the 129 point group. They gave up 100. And you know why I love it? It's the best. It's the best thing. The only thing that's really super in the Hall of Fame is this plaque, because it doesn't mention one person's name. It's the 129 point club. It's a team game. There's nobody says, by the way, Joe Blow was the best guy on this team. It just says it's the 100 team concept. Oh, wow. I love that.
Oh, we're fully, bought into the team concept here at SGPN.
No I in team, coach.
No I in team.
Now, coach, in 1959, your high school yearbook, apparently, from what I did some research on, in your high school yearbook, you're quoted as saying, "Life without football is not life." Is that true first? And then what would you be doing had it not been for football?
It's amazing. I don't know who wrote that. I don't know who put that in. I mean, they didn't ask me to put my 2 words in it, but they knew who I was and what I did. I live that every day. I think that's where it's at. And it's kind of funny. Somebody in 1959 coaching a year ago, Bert Hill's a great defensive line coach, and every day he sees me, he says, "Life without football is not life." And I go, he has no idea. Somebody told me that in 1959. I've never told Bert, don't tell him one good thing. He won't listen to your show. He lives in Florida. Do you go to Florida?
Oh yeah, we're worldwide, coach.
Well, the problem with being worldwide is you can offend people, and we're all on this super don't offend anybody kick. It just makes me so ill. By the way, here's my deal coaching. Are you ready? These kids want a chance. These kids want an opportunity, and you're on my staff. One of you got the secondary, and the other guy's got the offensive line. Are you ready for your rules?
Yep. Lay it on us, coach.
You don't say one word to one player as you're coaching them that you would not say if their parents or grandparents were standing next to them. I don't have one cuss word in practice. I don't have one player talk back. And what we try to do, it's amazing. You go to any pro football. I was in NFL all my life, right? You go there, the language is unbelievable. And people would come and say, my gosh, not one person cusses. If you cuss at my practice, you've lost your opportunity for us to coach you the rest of the day. You're going in. And so we do things differently. We do things, it's different for us. You're held accountable. You're held accountable. We will not ever say something to you that if grandma was standing next to you, I got to say grandma because of my age. I should tell you this. I was in Baghdad, right? We're going to go to Fallujah. I was with 1st Cavalry, and we're over there as guests. We're supposed to be, what do they call us? We're supposed to be morale builders. I was with 1st Cavalry out of Texas, and we're going to cross the bridge. And I say, man, here I am. and this young man from Round Rock, Texas says, "Coach, I got to get a picture of your cell phone right now before we move forward." And I said, "Well, son, that's unbelievable. Why do you want to do that?" And he goes, "You're my grandma's favorite coach." I could have slapped him in the head. I said, "You could have said your mama or your girlfriend. You didn't have to say grandma."
I absolutely love that. And as a coach myself, youth soccer, I have a very similar principle. There's no use bad language, you're off the field. I got to ask you about your staff. I know you've coached with June Jones before. I don't think he's currently employed. Is there going to be a surprise with June Jones running your offense here for Major League Football?
I don't know if we're allowed to say this, but he's taking the job in the XFL. And if we can't say that, I don't care. I don't like to follow rules much anyway.
Well, now you mentioned rules. Are there going to be any? Are you expecting any different rules in Major League Football, or any sort of USFL had a couple changes?
We did them yesterday, and we pounded this, and we all believe this. If you know how to follow the NFL, then you can follow it. We're not coming up with some bull roar thing on extra points. If you're back up to the 10, you get 3. If you're back at, we're playing NFL rules for the majority of our football. And I think why? Because we're trying to get to go to the NFL. Well, then let's play the rules. What about the people watching? You want to sit around and I coached in Canada. I love the CFL. I love it. But you can go up there as an American and not know what the heck's going on. Number one, they said, "Jerry, you're going to hate coaching up there. They got 12 men. They got 12 men." I said, "Really?" Guess what? We had the number 1 defense in the CFL. So I go up there and they say, "Jerry, what are you going to do? They got 12 men." I says, "I was really worried till I found out the defense has 12 too. What are we crying about?"
Yeah, you can shut them down with 11. You give an extra guy, makes it even easier.
Let's do it.
All right, Jerry, appreciate your time. Always fun having you on the show, and best of luck in the upcoming season and the new league, Major League Football. I know we'll be tuning in, and thanks a lot, Jerry. Really appreciate the time.
Well, let me know if your show gets canceled, because I'm on a streak. I've canceled about a dozen of them.
We'll make sure to show up for the championship game of Major League Football to have that conversation in person.
Guys.
All right. Thanks, Jerry. Y'all. All right. That'll do it for this bonus Jerry Glanville episode. Make sure you check out Major League Football. I mean, they nailed it with the name alone. Hey, if you're listening to this on, whenever you're listening to this, download the SGPN app. Got a bunch of contests on there, including the weekly Merch Monday. Check out Colby, the college football experience team previews, dropping June 10th. Follow him on the college experience at the Colby D. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Do it all. You guys know how to get involved at this point. Hop in Slack. Let's chat it up in the old Slack. For the Sports Gambling Podcast, I'm Sean, stacking the money green, and he is Ryan.
Sean, I'm going to make you do it again.
You can hear us in Florida.
Hold on, you're ruining. That was going to be my line, Colby. Now I have to use another one.
Thank you for participating in the Sports Gambling Podcast.
Sean, do that again.
What do you want me to do?
No, do the ending again.
Okay. All right. For the Sports Gambling Podcast, I'm Sean, stacking the money green, and he is Ryan.
He called him the Redskins, Sean.
Kramer, let it ride.